Hello, and welcome to Life After Love with Kim and,
Kim.
believe it or not, Kim Squared. So, in an earlier episode, we talked about people and things that people say, and how people should be there for us while we're grieving through this process. So, Kim actually had an experience and she wanted to share some more with you in relationship to that topic.
Yeah, just kind of what we talked about last time. It just seems to be a constant battle reminder. I don't know all the words that that I really want, but there's a constant presence of how we've lost people in our lives through this process, and then of course Google has all your photos that come back as memories, and they're related to or they're tied to people in your life that you had like 20 years ago or something, and those people aren't as present in your life now, and that's hard, and that just happened today, and that just seems to be a constant reminder of, yep, here we go, this is another loss, this is another reminder that my person's not here, and that and some days it's a bigger reminder, it's a more prominent reminder, but just certain days it really hits a little harder.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what we were going to actually talk about today is signs. So, as Kim mentioned, sometimes we do see those reminders on our Facebook pages and things, and we remember a time when we were with our loved ones here on Earth. But there's signs, and I can tell you that signs to me are very comforting. Um, I feel like it's him telling me that. Now, people will often say to you, "You're crazy," which, if you actually met Kim and I, we think we are.
Yeah,
We're pretty sure we are.
pretty
Yeah.
much, but that's
We're pretty
different.
sure. Yeah,
That's
and most people would tell you we are.
yeah, but that's different.
But that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, that's a different
But
subject.
as far as signs go, I know for my daughter Autumn, Dad comes in the form of a crow. Now, my husband did like Humphrey Bogart, so maybe that's, I don't know. But in her mind, he comes as a crow. My daughter Lindsay, they had this weird thing with the clock. When it said 444, 555. And so when my daughter sees that, she feels that's a sign from her dad. Okay. My daughter Leanne, it's more music. Dad will send her a song, and she'll remember a movie they watched together or where they were whenever they heard that song. You know, um, my son JJ, it's with his cooking. He remembers Dad whenever he's cooking, and there's little reminders when he's cooking. My son Charlie, probably there's several signs, things that people say, and it reminds him of his father and some of the funny things that he used to say. So I'm fine with signs. I think fine signs are comforting. And again, if that's what you're thinking, then I think that's a blessing, and I think that's wonderful. And if it makes you feel better, if it comforts you to know that they're there with you, then I don't see anything wrong in that.
Nope.
You know,
Nope, absolutely not. And all signs are different for different people, just
absolutely,
like you said too. My
absolutely.
oldest son hasn't really said a whole lot
Hmm.
that he gets signs, but my youngest son, some of the signs early on, he was a little bit freaked out.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was he's like, "Mom, this happened." I said, "Yeah, it's okay."
Hmm.
He's like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." So it took a minute for him to find comfort in that, but now he does smile, and he kind of
Wonderful.
just grins. He
Yeah.
smiles and grins a little bit with
Mhm.
this little crooked grin, like his father. My youngest son just is so much like his father, and I think that kind of brings me comfort too,
Mhm.
because I see Chris in my
and,
son.
and see, I really feel like in their way, and again, we're not trying to tell anyone how to believe. This is
No,
just
no,
what
absolutely
we
not.
believe,
Hmm.
and what is comforting to us. But yeah, those signs, and I know that sometimes when I'm at my worst, like the one day I was playing Alexis, and I was playing Elton John songs, and all of a sudden, Lady in Red came on. Elton John didn't sing Lady in Red,
Nope.
but that was one of our
Uh-huh.
songs, and it came on, and I'm like, okay, all right, Joseph, now you're messing with, uh, Alexa. But I know that people have told us that also, that they hear something or see something and they feel like it's a sign. And I said, I just don't feel anything's wrong with that.
No, absolutely
Um,
not.
you know, and
Absolutely not.
especially with young children. I know that, you know, if there's a story about a little girl that said that she spoke to her dad every night. And the mother said, well, that's wonderful, honey. What did you and dad talk about? Oh, we talked about school and things like that. So this went on for quite a while. And then the one day she said, I talked to dad again last night. And the mother said, that's wonderful. And she said, he said, you have to get me a puppy. She said, well, when you talk to your dad tonight, tell him that's not going to happen. Um, but, you know, again, if it was comforting to that little girl to say that she sat on that bed and talked to her dad at night, well, then she talked to her dad at night.
Absolutely.
You know, and again, you know, grief has no age. I mean, it's hard on young as it is on the older.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know at group, some of the older ladies say to you and I, you know, they feel bad for us because we didn't have them that long, you know.
Right.
And we feel bad for them because they had them longer.
They have
So
them
it's just
longer.
like this.
Correct.
I know, you know, it's just the way it is, unfortunately. You know, and as I said, there's no age group. There's no, and whatever you feel that makes you feel comforted, you know.
And there's no one greater loss than another. A
No,
loss is a loss,
absolutely
and
not.
that's what
Yeah.
that some people do compare. Like, well, I lost my mom. That's worse than your loss of your husband, or
Correct,
that's worse
correct.
than your loss of your child
No,
or your dog.
No.
A loss is a loss.
A loss
And this
is
is
a-
grief,
no.
and this is life after loss.
Mhm.
This is about the way you move on
Correct.
through life
Correct.
through loss. We
Mhm.
just happen to have something in common.
Absolutely, and you hit the nail on the head. A loss is a loss, you know, and how you mourn is how you mourn, and how you feel comforted. That's fine. Like, you know, a baby has to woo themselves to sleep. They have to find their own comfort, and that's pretty much how we are. We have to find our own comfort. What makes us feel okay in that moment? You know, it's okay to have a good cry. It's okay to see those signs and have a good cry.
And
It's
we
okay
just
to
did
do
a few
that, and we
minutes
just
ago.
did. Yes.
We just
Um,
did before this whole thing
yeah,
started.
yeah.
Just some reminders today. Hasn't been a really good day for either of us.
Right.
But and the people at my work, I don't know if you still have this at your new job, and the people at my work have been so incredible. I
Oh,
can't
that's
say
wonderful.
enough
That's
good
wonderful.
things about them. But I sometimes, if I'm not having a real good day or something, they say, well, what happened? Is it a certain date, or is it a certain anniversary or something? I'm like, no, the wind just shifted.
Yeah,
And it doesn't
absolutely.
have to be.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have to.
anything.
You're right. It doesn't have to be a particular
No,
day or
the
a
wind
particular
just
time
shifted.
of day or
And-
anything like that. You
And
know?
if I just happen to think of something,
Mhm.
or not even think of something, you just get an overwhelming feeling of grief, and I'm not even going to say sadness. I feel like sometimes I get a tsunami that drowns me.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I get a little wave that just hits my shins and goes back out into the ocean. And as I said, other times the tsunami holds me under, and you fight for every breath. And I used to have tsunami after tsunami after tsunami, and now there's more little waves that hit my shins, which is okay. That means, I think that means that there's some healing and there's some
Mhm.
not progress, but I'm carrying it. I'm learning how to carry this. So
That's,
I
that's a
think
very good way of putting that,
Yeah.
because you know, this is not going to change for us.
Never.
This is unfortunately our reality now.
this is life. This
This
life.
is our life. This is our life after love, and you know, we are trying to make it work. We are trying to live without our spouse, someone that was there for us. I know. I was just talking to somebody today, and they were reminding me how spoiled I was, and I was fine with that.
Ditto.
And we were blessed to have that. We were very, very blessed to have that. And unfortunately, now it just leaves such a vacance. I mean, I just, every time I have to do something that he used to do,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, I can't believe I have to do this, and
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it. It gets me upset, but I do it. I have to do
You
it.
have to do it.
'Cause
You
who's
have
gonna
to
do it?
Yeah.
You know, it has to be done. Who's
We're
going to do it?
learning. We're learning how to
you know,
do this
we're
kind
learning.
of stuff, and that
Yeah.
and that's the other thing too. Everything is new, and sometimes I'm like, okay, give me a sign. Tell me,
Right.
tell me how to do this. Help me,
Right.
help me through this. Give
Mhm.
me a sign.
Right.
Like
Right.
throw something on the floor. Make it obvious
Yeah.
because sometimes it's not obvious.
And there
Yeah.
you go, talking about signs. Like,
Mhm.
give me a sign. You
Help
know, are we going to get one? I don't know. I think our husbands would be like, no, we're not going to give them a sign. We're
Not
gonna,
yet.
Yeah, not yet. We're going to make them suffer a little. No, I don't.
No, not
No,
suffer.
we're joking. We're
No,
joking.
but and again, those signs,
Mhm.
like you were talking about earlier,
Mhm.
I did write them down because I want to hold on to every little memory. I want to hold on
Mhm.
to every little piece of Chris that I can,
Mhm.
and because I know my brain won't remember anything,
Right.
it's very
Right.
poor lately. I have
Yeah.
very bad brain
Well, we did talk about grief.
energy.
I don't know if we talked about grief brain, but grief brain is real. It exists.
Yeah, the brain
Your
fog.
memory is not the same. It really isn't.
Brain fog is
Um,
real too.
you're just so overwhelmed with the grief that it's difficult to do simple tasks sometimes.
And
it really
that
is.
is
And
that has been
concentration.
that has been
Yeah.
proven. There is
Mhm.
research that proves that your brain rewires because of the
I
trauma.
believe that.
It's true.
Yeah, I
There's
believe that.
research that
Yeah.
shows that. I've been doing a lot of that.
Well, being nurses, I mean, there is, there is different trauma, and I would totally agree with that. I really do. I know that I'm definitely not the same person I was.
No, but
I know
rewires everything.
I will never be. I will never be the same person I was.
It rewires,
Yeah.
and my some people in my life don't understand that I'm not the same person, and I live in fear most of the time. Not as much as I used to, but I live in fear. I have to make sure all the doors are locked, and I have to triple check and before I go to bed. And it might sound a little OCD, but it's the fear. It's amazing how before when my husband was home, I thought, well, if somebody breaks in, he can take them.
No,
I'm okay
yeah.
with that.
And
but,
that was it. I mean, I always felt that way too, like he was my protector.
Yeah.
And that's gone.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Mhm.
gone.
Yeah.
I think I could scream pretty good. I don't know. I think I could kick, hit, bite. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what I would do in that
You
situation.
might not be strong enough. I don't know.
I always no, but that's one thing. My husband always had my back.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Absolutely.
my husband was military, so he would always say, "I got your six." So when I guess you're going into combat, that's a term that they use that
Okay.
they protect you. They got your six.
Well, my husband wasn't in the military, but he was 6'3", 240. So,
Yeah, nobody messed with your husband.
nobody messed with
nobody
Chris.
messed with your husband.
No. I just hid behind him, and
Yeah.
nobody knew I existed. I just hid. I was fine.
No, but again, asking them for signs that are we doing the right thing? Are we honoring you?
Right.
The way
that's the other thing. Yeah.
that
correct.
we want to continue to honor them.
Correct.
We are their wives, and we represent their family. We represent our marriage, and I don't want to do anything disrespectful or dishonorable to my husband. I would never do that.
No. And I want to honor him the right way, and that brings a whole other level, another level
Mhm.
of not guilt so much, but you want to do it the right way because you don't get a lot of chances to honor them in what you think they would like. And even the other day, I was thinking about planting flowers. Haven't been able to because it's been so stinking cold, but I was thinking about planting flowers, and I struggled because I thought, oh, I want to plant a tree. My husband wanted me to plant a tree and some flowers in a certain spot in our yard, and I'm like, what was his favorite tree? What were his favorite flowers? And I really, really had to dust off a lot of cobwebs. That brain fog, that grief brain. I was like, oh my goodness, I've known my husband for 36 years, 36 plus years. What does he like? What were his favorite trees and flowers and things? And that was a struggle.
But do you also think, like, I don't know, I feel like for me sometimes I don't want to go there. You know what I mean? Like
what? Like, what do you mean?
Well, because I think that the grief brain and the fog and so forth, I'm in protective mode.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't want to go there, because if I start thinking about things like that, then all the memories come flooding back and the reality that he's no longer here. So I think sometimes I kind of subconsciously protect myself from
And
seeing.
your brain does.
Yeah.
And your brain does.
And from yeah.
And like I said, I don't know if it was last time or the time
Mhm.
before, that my grief brain is is becoming like I have blips of memories that are a little clearer. I'm a little further along in this process
Mhm.
or in this journey. I shouldn't say process;
Yeah.
it's a journey, a lifelong journey. I'm a little further along than you are, so yeah,
Mhm.
you're still foggy. You're still the
Thank
fog
you.
is very dense.
Thank you.
You're still dense brain,
So do you
and
hear
I'm
what
not
she's
as
yeah.
dense. So no, but there
Okay.
are little
Well,
blips of clarity.
reality is that she is more dense than I am.
No.
And again, if you knew us better, you would definitely believe that she's more dense than I am.
No,
Yeah.
no,
But anyway, as far as signs go, I guess the main thing we want you to get from the signs is just, you know, enjoy them. Enjoy them as much as you can.
And some
you
people,
know?
you know what, I've been told other people don't get signs, and they're
And they're waiting
jealous.
for, yes, and
They're
I've
waiting.
heard
They're like,
about, yes.
oh, please send me a sign, and
Yes,
they don't
I've
get
heard-
them,
I've heard
or
about
they
that.
never get
Yeah,
them.
I've heard about that.
So I
So
guess
maybe
there's
their loved
two.
one's too busy. I don't know. I don't know
This
what
is
that's
all
all
new.
about.
This is all new. Maybe they're like hanging out somewhere.
I don't know, but I know that Joseph always said, "Don't be looking for any signs because I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be too busy." And it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't
I can
that
hear him
long.
saying that.
Yeah, it wasn't that long after that we started seeing little things, and I didn't want to say anything, but then like the kids were like, "Mom," I said, "Yeah, I think so too." So
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
he was definitely on the cruise.
Was he?
Oh, he was on that cruise. Yeah, he would. I took
Oh,
him.
because of songs and stuff.
Oh
or
yeah,
what?
he was on that cruise. I can
That's
tell
cool.
you. I can tell you right now. There was probably like 3 or 4 distinct things that he was on that cruise because there were things that he liked on cruises,
Yeah.
and it was like so. It was just so funny. It was like like
That's
the
neat.
buffet was. It was so funny.
That's neat.
Because he loved the midnight buffets. That was his big thing. He got to eat at midnight on a cruise ship. So, but
And then he had bad heartburn.
Well, he would get up early in the morning and help park the ship. So
Okay.
I don't know if he ever had heart. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But knowing the cruise line, they probably had something for that too.
Probably.
But anyway, no, I really believe that he comes along with us on some of those trips. I know he's going to be coming with us down to Florida, and not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. 'Cause
We'll see. Just go with it.
we're probably not going to follow the guide that he set forth. He was very strict about car trips and all that.
Yeah.
Again, the military in him, it was
Just be
this is
careful.
this time, this is that, very regimented.
Just be careful.
Yeah, very regimented. But I know that the day that Lady in Red came on, I just stopped there for a minute, and the first thing I did was smile, because I figured he put it on there, and then the next thing I did was cry.
Yep.
Because again, that was our song, and it would be nothing for him to come and you and I've talked about this, come down and just in the kitchen and grab me and start slow dancing in the kitchen. It would be nothing for us to do that.
Yep.
Um,
On our Saturdays, we
Yeah.
would clean. We would just be vacuuming and dusting, and all of a sudden, just turn the radio on, and he'd throw the duster, and I'd throw the vacuum. Not throw it, but we'd. No, that would be bad. But
Yeah.
and then we would just dance.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
those songs
I know.
come on too. I'm like, oh, we danced to that one,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, we danced to that
just
one.
all those memories that
Mhm.
so all those memories that we made, and now that's what we pretty much live on. So
And
it's almost like money in the bank.
I hold
You know?
on to those. I
Mhm.
cherish if I hear something, or I think I see something,
Mhm.
or like a number on a clock, just like Lindsay.
Yeah.
I think, oh, there's something, and
Mhm.
maybe it's not, but your heart just yearns for something like
Absolutely.
that. So you just look
Mhm.
for everything, and
Mhm.
that's common too. That's
Mhm.
to want to look for something and to want to embrace it, and it may not even be, but in your mind and in your heart, it is connecting to them. And if that brings you peace and that brings you comfort, then
I love
grab it and
yeah.
hang on.
I love the way you said that, though, to stay connected.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is that those signs, in some way, keep us connected. Even though we're here and they're up there, it does keep us connected. That
Yeah.
we are still a part of each other's lives
Yeah.
in some way.
Yeah, just grab it and hang on.
Just in a different way. I know that they're always going to be a part of our lives and everything we do. You know, they're never going to go away. Their memory's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. You know, and if you see these signs and it makes you pause and makes you happy for a moment, and even if it makes you sad for a moment, at least you know that they're thinking of you.
Mhm.
They're thinking of you too, and that's what these signs are, you know, and that's how I like to look at it. Now,
Oh,
again,
right, absolutely.
yes,
I agree.
that is our personal opinion,
Right.
right?
It is not
It
the
is not-
opinion
yes.
of this, what is it called on the TV, of this channel or
Yes.
this broadcast or
It's
whatever.
not-
Yeah,
it's
something.
not- yes,
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to get sued.
No, no, this is just
Yes.
us
Yeah.
to
It's just the way we feel, how we are managing this journey, how we've experienced various things, and again, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this podcast. Is that we think there are other people out there that maybe see these signs or don't understand what they are, and now maybe when they see them, they'll be more comforted. Because, as I said, signs should be comforting. Signs should not be scary or hurtful or anything like that. They should be comforting. Okay.
absolutely
Those reminders, you know, those constant reminders
of
of
connection,
of
the love.
of the love that we shared and of the love that we still have, and that love is never going to go away. It's never going to go away. They could, you know, no matter where we each are, we're always together in that way. We're always going to love each other, and that's just the way it's going to be. So we just want you to keep in mind about these signs, different signs that people have. And as I said, hopefully it'll be comforting for you, just like it is for Kim and I. So thank you, and we hope you tune in again next time for another topic.
We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye bye.